they've kept repeating this phrase of like, what do you have to lose? Like, really, like, what is the scary monster that you're afraid of that's keeping you from reaching out to that gallery, from talking to that consultant, to making a friend with that artist that you admire? Like, what do you have to lose? Hi everybody, I'm Anna.
And I'm Jesus. I want to welcome you to my studio, or at least this little corner of the studio.
Jesus' space today. Switching it up from the dining room.
We're switching it up because this month we're going to talk about all the things that we've been learning, and we've been learning a lot of stuff because we've been doing a lot of stuff. So we're just going to jump right into the things that we've been learning and how we think you could apply it to your life and the practice that you're running in right now.
Well, if no one's watched any of our other videos, we could give more context that Jesus and I are former brand designers, helpers of creatives who want to put themselves out into the world, and we've recently pivoted to pursue art and music. And we're bringing you along for the ride because we want to offer our experience as an encouragement to you. So, for some backstory, for some context, what have we been learning this month?
So if you've been around the Shea Nunez world, you know that I am a recovering perfectionist. Like, my perfectionist tendencies run so deeply within me that I have to constantly overcome them. And so this last month, I put out a music video.
You did it.
I started a YouTube channel.
I'm so proud.
And I really want to emphasize that idea that perfectionism is really just the thing that it's fear. It's you trying to prevent judgment. It is a deep-seated fear of like, what happens if people judge me, or they don't like me, or they, fill in the blank. And I'm sure you've probably felt that way once or twice in your life. But the one way of overcoming it is by doing. It's by actually putting yourself out there. I don't know if you've ever been there. I know I've been there. Where I think what happens is we'll want to do a lot of work on the front end. And this isn't to say that you shouldn't be proactive with planning out your brand and plotting out like actual strategy. But I think what the perfectionist voice does is tells you, well, maybe you could tweak those colors a little bit longer. Maybe you could, maybe that song isn't finished. Is the music video really done? Do you think?
Like a mechanism to keep you safe. To keep you from having to put it out there.
And so you'll get in this hamster wheel of like, I'll put it out, and you keep convincing yourself, I'll put it out. I'll put out my song. I'll put out my music video. I'll start my YouTube channel one day. But the way to squash that thing is by actually putting it out into the world. And speaking from personal experience from this last month, it has been so incredibly fun and so amazing. Even though I know it's not perfect, and I had to come to grips with like could I have edited my music video a little bit more, or tweaked this scene, or I should have shot it this way.
I mean, this last month has been like the most consistent I've ever seen you be with marketing your work and sharing about your work. And so it's been cool that like you have been learning it by experience, by actually like the more you put yourself out there, the more confident you've gotten in the process of like, okay, I'm doing this, and like doing that with the expectation that like your work will evolve through doing. Like your work can't evolve, your work can't progress unless you're actively doing it and creating and moving on and creating and moving on and creating and moving on.
It's almost like you're withholding the blessing of allowing your work to grow by not doing that.
Because it can't grow if it just sits under your bed, or if it just stays like in your studio and it doesn't leave, because then that becomes your only focus. It's like you're not giving yourself permission to like air it out and to keep like, I had a professor who used to say work leads to work. Like the work you make in the future depends on the work you make today, and then releasing it. So
that's so true.
You've been doing it. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks.
Getting through that perfectionism.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah. What else did you do this time? I feel like you did something else. YouTube video, music.
Put out a lyric video.
Yeah, you put out a bunch of videos.
Yeah, I put out a bunch of videos. There's a link in the description if you want to watch any of my videos.
Play a clip, right here.
Right, there you go.
Music video.
It includes this little guy over here. I know you're probably wondering, why is there a weird Jesus head in the background? It's part of the music video.
Yeah. And it's good. You've gotten some like great feedback.
Thanks, dude.
Which is awesome. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, it's been super fun. Oh, okay, speaking of allowing yourself to grow, if it wasn't for like this YouTube channel and us talking and doing this, I would have never felt, maybe not never, this process of putting out these YouTube videos has helped me feel more confident being on camera and talking.
Well, and making courses, because we've made courses for Shane Nunez, and the amount of times that we have filmed video after video, like, it's cool how everything you do now will have an impact in some way on the things you do in the future.
Exactly. And it's interesting how that brand, or this brand that you're watching on the Shane Nunez YouTube channel, that if it wasn't for this brand, who knows if I would have started the YouTube channel, if I would have had the confidence, but allowing that, making a commitment, saying yes to like, we're gonna make YouTube videos, I feel like it's really fueled me to say like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna like, it's gonna branch off in another direction that I didn't really expect, but if it wasn't for me allowing myself to overcome my perfectionism at that stage, it wouldn't have led to that thing.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have led to the YouTube channel, to my music video, to honestly, who knows what.
I feel like sometimes creatives get so far down the line that they like, it's like analysis paralysis, where they're like, they try to analyze too far in the future, and it almost like stops you from doing something in the moment. It's like, what if you just were able to focus on what I'm doing today, what I'm doing just in this season or just in this year, and just knowing that like, what I'm doing right now eventually will impact what I get to do in the future, but like you could take so many different paths. You don't know what opportunities are going to come up. So you almost have to just be, it's good to have a long-term vision, but I think sometimes you almost have to selectively just focus on the short term. In order to keep yourself moving forward. Where
That's so true.
I think selectively, today, I just will focus on the thing that I'm working on. With the expectation that like, it will lead to something else, but I don't have to predict what that something else is going to be, because I have no idea. I have no way to predict the future.
Well, that's the thing too, is that you're basically, your perfection is trying to control the future. It's like an anxiety of my need for control of like my image or my judgment, or I need to prevent the pain of like, what if people don't like me, so let me manicure this as much as possible.
I think another thing that I've noticed in like the creative spaces, like holding people back, is the idea that like what prevents you from sharing your work, like it can be a bit of perfectionism, but it also can be several other like almost like internal lies or like limiting beliefs or like scarcity mentality things, where it's like one thing to just be like, share your work, like share it. But then I think a lot of people are immediately faced with some different pushbacks in their mind, where they're like, well, if I share my work, it could get copied. If I share my work, it could get stolen. If I share my work, it could receive judgment. People might not like it. How do I, like X, Y, and Z? And I've noticed a really positive effect that comes from flipping those things around, when almost approaching sharing your work and breaking through perfectionism with mentalities like, unless I share my work, it can't get discovered. Unless I share my work, like my dream buyer can't find it. Like, what if I share my work and an amazing opportunity, an amazing door opens that wouldn't have come from, or it wouldn't have happened unless I shared my work. So it's almost like you have to really spin those fear thoughts and those like doubt thoughts into like abundance thoughts of like, what if something amazing comes from this? And unless I share my work today, none of that amazing stuff can happen, So that's like a helpful tool, I think, for breaking through perfectionism as well. Yeah.
It's crazy how those two thoughts are so, like, they're so close to each other. But it's just the inversion of saying, like, how do I flip this? I'm trained to think about things a certain way, whether it's an intentional training or unintentional training, whether it's my upbringing or my people I'm around. But what if I train myself to, like, just to practice it, just to try flipping that thought on its head?
I used to do this with my work with Pinterest. It's funny, like the amount of doors that open from Pinterest, and specifically when I was doing design work, was really beautiful, and there was such a cool snowball effect that happened on that platform. And I'd tell my friends about it. I'd be like, you gotta be on Pinterest, like Pinterest is amazing. And I heard so many people, so many creatives be like, but my work could get copied, my work could get stolen if it's on Pinterest. But it's funny because I always approached it with a completely different mentality of like, Pinterest is so vast, and it has a snowball effect, and it's like, what if I get discovered on Pinterest? It's like an interesting, you really have to flip it around, but you gotta be intentional about, noticing when you're doing those things. Because it's easy to be like, doubtful when it comes to your work because it's another form of protection. You're like, gotta keep it safe.
Exactly.
Yeah. So a lesson I feel like I've been learning a lot in the last month is like this lesson of what do I have to lose? Like I think when you're an artist, when you're creative, it's easy to feel really precious about what you're working on, or even feel intimidated to approach certain people or to ask for certain opportunities. But I've had a really inspiring friend, like a couple conversations with a couple really inspiring friends that like they just have such a go-getter like tenacity. I'm like, God, Lord, let me be like, you know, Nancy or Rachel or these friends in my life. But I've been feeling really inspired by these friends that are such go-getters because they've kept repeating this phrase like, what do you have to lose? Like, really, like, what is the scary monster that you're afraid of that's keeping you from reaching out to that gallery, from talking to that consultant, to making a friend with that artist that you admire? Like, what do you have to lose? Like, the worst thing that could happen is someone ignores your message or says they don't have time, and then it's like, is that really a personal attack on me?
Right.
Not really. Like, it doesn't really matter. But it's easy to get really like insular and precious and think like, oh, I can't reach out to these people for some reason. And life is just so short. Like my family recently experienced like a death in the family, not to get like super sad, but anytime, you know, you're confronted with like the fragility and the fleeting nature of life and time, it puts a lot of perspective into your mind and into your heart, where you think like, I get a finite amount of days and I don't know how many days those are, and I have to do it. Like I have to put myself out there, and I have to ask her what I want with a reckless abandon sometimes in order to see progress with my work, because life is so short and so precious, and what do you have to lose? You know, live life the way you want to live it. As a creative, I went on a rant.
That's good. No, that's really good.
Yeah.
Because I think it applies to everybody. Like everybody has to confront those feelings.
Yeah.
And sometimes, if anything, we're unconscious about that reality in a way that we almost like just keep. It's that, again, it's perfectionism. It's like all those things where you end up kicking the can down the road of like, well, I'll figure out my brand later.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'll tweak the font a little bit more. I mean, we'll just get stuck on certain things like, and I don't want to oversimplify them, but like, whether it's like your photos or my photos aren't right, or my videos aren't coming out the way
it's
that
like, just
whatever.
do it
like,
and know that you'll get better next time.
Yes.
Like, keep going.
Yes, that's my point.
Yeah.
Right. So like you gotta
get version 1 down.
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
And then give yourself the permission to like, I am going to use this as a way of learning, because that's the only way that we'll learn. It's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
It's like nobody can. You can watch as many YouTube videos as you want about riding a bike, but until you actually like
ride a bike,
get your butt on the seat and like actually try and be okay with like falling and scraping your arm, like that's the only way that you'll be able to do it. So I wanna.
These are good. They go in tandem. So to recap, you know, the best way to overcome perfectionism is by forcing, you know, even if it's just 10 seconds of courage, getting yourself to show up and to share and to push through and to do the work. That is like the only way. But you have to overcome it, because my point, life is so short. Time is so fleeting. You only get one opportunity. So what do you have to lose? You know. So those are our lessons, what we've been learning. I hope you found them encouraging. If you want to take a first step, you know, shameless plug, we have a educational resource available to you. If you need like a good first step where you're like, today is the day that I make my brand, that I establish my presence online, that I put myself out there and I share my work, we have a course called Branding Blueprint that we'll link in the description for you. It's there as, you know, a way to help you start and keep going, and you know, we want you to do it and move on. So there's a loose cancellation policy. It's $75 a month. Go get started and put yourself out there. Follow Jesus' channel, his YouTube channel. You're already on YouTube, so just follow it.
Link is scroll down the description. There's a little link in the description.
It's so freaking good. He's gonna keep putting music out. Go to annanunez.com to see my artwork. Put some beautiful artwork in your home. Commemorate a special moment in your life with some original art in your collection. I'm making a bunch of work over there.
Yeah, one last point. If you want to keep learning from our example, like honestly, just subscribe to my channel, my YouTube channel. Go to Anna's website and just watch. We're giving you kind of our secret of like, just watch what we're doing, because we're constantly thinking about this stuff. We're constantly thinking about, well, if I just put this out, I can iterate on it. And I guarantee you a year from now...
Watch us in real time, learn as we go.
I guarantee you a year from now, you're going to go back to our videos and be like, oh my God, look at how much it's changed or evolved. And it's kind of like, you get all these different avenues in which we have choices to make in our brand building. Yep. So if you want to see us grow,
follow along.
Yeah, you're going to be early on, so click the link, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and let us know in the comment, and we're giving you a lot of actions. If you want to ask us a specific question for next time, for the next video, leave it in the comments, and we'll address it to you.
Yep.
All right. Branding blueprint, music, art, comments.
Oh yeah, hit subscribe, like to this channel too. All right, bye-bye.
Lots of requests. See you later next time. Bye.